Marcus Reynolds stood frozen at his own wedding reception, watching his ex-wife fire him in front of 400 guests. But that wasn't the unbelievable part. The unbelievable part was that 30 seconds ago, he didn't even know she worked at the same company. And 60 seconds ago, he had no idea she was a billionaire. And 5 minutes ago, when he'd mocked her from the microphone and called her presence at his wedding an act of grace from someone who finally accepted being left behind, he definitely didn't know she owned everything. His job, his salary, his new father-in-law's position, the building they were standing in, even the car he'd driven here, the one he thought the company leased to him as a perk. She owned it all. "Security will escort you out now," Sophia Bennett said into the microphone, her voice steady as glass, while Marcus's entire world shattered around him. His new bride Victoria screamed something, but the blood was rushing too loud in Marcus's ears to hear it. Two men in black suits appeared at his sides. The room erupted with gasps, with phones being raised, with 400 people realizing they were witnessing something that would be on every tech blog by morning. "Sophia, wait," Marcus choked out. "Please, I didn't know." "I know you didn't," Sophia said. Her smile was cold. That was the point. But to understand how one woman destroyed her ex-husband's entire life in under 10 minutes, you need to understand what he did to her first. You need to understand 3 years of dismissal, of condescension, of being told she was nothing while she was literally everything. Marcus Reynolds didn't just divorce Sophia Bennett because he fell in love with someone else. He divorced her because he thought she was worthless, an embarrassment to his rising career. What he didn't understand was that you don't climb a ladder by stepping on people. You climb it by building it. And Sophia had built every single rung Marcus had ever stood on. Now she was about to kick it out from under him. This is that story. But before we see how Sophia destroys Marcus, if you love stories about karma, revenge, and powerful women who refuse to be underestimated, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell us where you are watching from, and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens at that wedding reception. Now, let's go back to where it all began. 3 years earlier, Sophia Bennett was 29 and already running a tech empire from the shadows. She'd founded Nexus Tech at 22, cloud software that handled data infrastructure for mid-sized companies. Nothing glamorous, but essential. The kind of technology that ran quietly in the background of half the internet. By 25, she was worth $300 million. But visibility made you a target, so Sophia hired James Wu, a 50-year-old tech veteran with a trustworthy face, to be the public CEO. To the world, James was the genius. Sophia made the real decisions from an unmarked office on the executive floor. "You sure about staying hidden?" James had asked when she hired him. "Recognition makes you famous," Sophia replied. "I'd rather be powerful." At a Columbia Business School mixer, she met Marcus Reynolds. First-year MBA student, handsome in that calculated way where even his stubble looked strategic. But when he approached her, something in his smile seemed genuine. "I'm Marcus. I've been standing over there for 10 minutes trying to think of a line that didn't sound like every other guy here." Sophia laughed. "How'd that work out?" "Terribly. So I'm just being honest instead. I'm drowning in student debt, and you have kind eyes. Can I buy you a drink with money I definitely don't have?" They talked for 3 hours. Marcus told her about growing up poor in Ohio, watching his father work 2 jobs, promising himself he'd do better. "That's why I'm here," Marcus said. "Networking, climbing. I know it looks shallow, but when you grow up with nothing, ambition isn't a dirty word." "What do you do, Sophia?" Here was the moment. She could tell him the truth. Instead, "I'm an accountant. Small firm." She told herself it was a test, that she wanted to see if someone could love her without the money. Looking back, maybe it was the thrill of being underestimated. Maybe that should have been her first warning. 8 months later, they married at City Hall. Marcus's business school friends made jokes about him marrying down. She heard them at the reception. "Could have held out for someone with connections, man." Marcus laughed. "Sophia's not about that superficial stuff. She's got substance." At the time, Sophia thought he was defending her. Later, she realized he was explaining why he'd settled. When Marcus got into Columbia's MBA program, the tuition was $200,000. "I'm looking at crippling debt," he said, staring at his laptop. "What if you didn't have to take loans?" Sophia asked. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. "Sophia, I know what accountants make. You can't afford this." She arranged an anonymous scholarship through one of her companies. 2 weeks later, Marcus got the notification. "Full ride," he shouted, spinning her around. "The Nexus Tech Innovation Scholarship. This is going to change our lives." He kissed her hard, already thinking about his future. In his mind, he'd earned this through merit. He had no idea his wife had paid for everything. Columbia changed Marcus, but not in good ways. He came home later, talked less, spent money they supposedly didn't have on designer suits. "It's an investment," he said when she noticed the charges. "You have to look the part." "With what money? I thought we were on a budget." "I opened a credit card. I'll pay it off once I'm working. Trust me." One night, Sophia tried discussing market trends she'd noticed in her actual work. Marcus's eyes glazed over. "I'm sure it's interesting to you, babe, but I spent all day in corporate strategy seminars. I kind of need to decompress, not talk about, spreadsheets." The word spreadsheets landed like a slap. Like her work was so simple, it could be reduced to one dismissive word. After graduation, Marcus got hired at Nexus Tech. Sophia had orchestrated it, creating a position and making him interview 5 times so it felt earned. "I did it," he shouted when he got the call. "Nexus Tech. This is the company, Sophia. If I play this right, I could be VP in 5 years. I'm so proud of you. This changes everything. You might even be able to quit that accounting job, focus on something you actually enjoy." "I enjoy my work." Marcus looked at her with that expression she'd started seeing more. Affectionate, but pitying. "Do you though? Be honest, wouldn't you rather do something meaningful?" She let it go, like she'd let go of hundreds of small cuts. But in 6 months, she'd be standing at his wedding. And Marcus would learn that every cut she'd endured, she'd been counting. 3 months into his job at Nexus Tech, Marcus started mentioning Victoria Chen, the CEO's daughter, he said casually over dinner. "She went to Wharton, worked at Goldman. Smart woman. She's leading this acquisition project, wants me on the team." Something in his voice made Sophia's chest tighten. Not just excitement. Something else. More late nights. Probably. But working directly with the CEO's daughter? That's visibility, sophomore. That's how careers get made. The late nights became later. Marcus came home smelling like perfume that wasn't Sophia's. She found hotel receipts in his jacket pocket. $200 dinners for two. "How was work?" she'd ask. "Exhausting. Victoria's pushing us hard. We were at the office until midnight going through financials." "Just the two of you? And the team?" "What?" His voice had an edge. "Just asking." One evening, Sophia came home early. She heard Marcus on the phone in the bedroom, door half closed. I know. It's complicated." A pause. "Because I'm still married, Victoria. I can't just walk away without." "Look, she's a good person. Just not the right person. Not for where I'm going." Another pause, then a laugh that sounded nothing like the man she'd married. "Yeah, I know what you mean. Night and day. Look, I'll handle it. Just give me time to do it properly." Sophia backed out of the apartment silently, stood in the hallway trying to remember how to breathe. From her real office at Nexus Tech the next morning, Sophia pulled Victoria Chen's file. The CEO's daughter was $300,000 in debt, trading on her father's position despite having zero actual authority. James had created her corporate development role as a favor, keeping her away from anything important. Victoria was looking for someone to solve her money problems. How perfect that she'd chosen Marcus, who had nothing except what Sophia had given him. "Jennifer," Sophia called her assistant. "I need you to do something." But then she stopped. Her hand hovered over the phone. What was she becoming? The kind of person who destroyed people out of hurt? Was this justice or just revenge with better PR? "Ma'am." Jennifer appeared in the doorway. For 5 long seconds, Sophia sat there. She could end this differently. Could reveal herself to Marcus right now. Shock him into understanding what he was throwing away. Maybe save the marriage. Then she remembered his laugh on the phone. Night and day. "Approve Marcus Reynolds for promotion to senior VP, Sophia said. Salary 180. Make it effective immediately." Jennifer's eyes widened. "You're letting him climb higher?" The fall is so much more satisfying from greater heights. 2 weeks later, Marcus came home with divorce papers. He didn't ease into it. Just walked through the door on a Tuesday evening and pulled out the folder. "We need to talk." Sophia was folding laundry. One of his shirts. She set it down slowly, her fingers not quite steady. "Okay. I think we should. This isn't working anymore. We should separate. Get divorced." The words should have devastated her. Instead, she felt eerily calm, like she'd been waiting for this knife, and now that it had landed, at least the uncertainty was over. Can I ask why? Marcus said heavily. Look, Sophia, we're not the same people anymore. I've grown. I'm meeting people at a level I never thought I'd reach, and you're still. He gestured vaguely. You're still doing the same thing. Same job, same routine. You're comfortable being average. And that's a problem? It's reality. I need a partner who understands the world I'm moving into. Someone who can handle high-level social situations. Someone ambitious. I have ambition. Marcus actually laughed. You're an accountant at a firm nobody's heard of. You make what, 60 grand? You wear the same outfits on rotation. That's not ambition. That's just, I don't know, coasting. Each word landed like a physical blow. Sophia's nails cut into her palms. Her face stayed smooth. Is there someone else? Marcus hesitated for half a second. Does it matter? It matters to me. Fine. Yes. Victoria Chen, the CEO's daughter. She's beautiful, successful, sophisticated. Everything I need right now. Right now, Sophia repeated. Interesting. What? Nothing. So you want a divorce to be with the CEO's daughter. I want a divorce because we've grown apart. But yes, I've met someone better suited to my life. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm being honest. How noble. Don't be bitter, Sophia. It's not attractive. Marcus slid the folder across the table. I've had a lawyer draw this up. You get the car, 50,000, and I'll cover rent for 3 months. That's generous considering you didn't really contribute financially. Sophia picked up the folder. When do you need these signed? Marcus blinked, clearly surprised. End of the week? I've already found an apartment. I can move out this weekend. That works. Really? Just like that? No fight. Sophia met his eyes. Would it change anything, Marcus? No. Honestly, no. Then why waste the energy? She walked to the bedroom and closed the door before her face could crack. Not because she was crying. She wasn't. But because she needed him to think she was broken. In reality, she was already planning his destruction. The next morning, Sophia called James from her real office. Marcus asked for a divorce. He's with Victoria. I'm sorry, Sophia. Do you want me to fire him? No. Promote him. Make the salary increase substantial. I want him to feel like he's on top of the world. Are you sure you want to do this? There are easier ways to move on. I don't want easy, James. I want poetic. But there's something you need to know. The company goes public in 4 months. My identity becomes public record. If I'm going to do this, it has to be before then. So we have a deadline. Exactly. Let him climb fast. I'll cut the rope right before IPO. 3 days later, Sophia signed the divorce papers without changing a word. Marcus picked them up that evening, boxes of his belongings stacked by the door. Thanks for being mature about this, he said. Some women would have made this hell. What choice did I have? Marcus hesitated. Take care of yourself, Sophia. Find someone on your level. There's nothing wrong with simple happiness. She watched him load boxes into the car she'd bought him and drive away. Then she poured a glass of wine, set a timer for 5 minutes, and allowed herself to feel the grief. When the timer went off, she dried her eyes and called James. It's done. Now we wait for the wedding invitation. It arrived 2 months later. Cream-colored envelope, elegant calligraphy. And at the bottom, a handwritten note. Sophia, I'd be honored if you came. It would mean a lot to see you there supporting my new beginning. I hope there are no hard feelings. You'll see what real success looks like. M. He wanted her to watch him win. To parade his upgrade in front of her. Perfect. Sophia called Jennifer. RSVP yes. And book the Bentley. Should I inform the board? Not yet. But call James. Tell him it's time. The wedding was held at the St. Regis Hotel in Manhattan. Crystal chandeliers, white roses everywhere, for 100 guests in designer everything. Sophia arrived in a simple black dress, no jewelry, nothing that screamed wealth. She slipped into a back row seat, unnoticed. Marcus stood at the altar grinning like he'd won the lottery. Victoria walked down the aisle in a gown that probably cost more than most people's cars. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Marcus grabbed her like he was claiming a prize. Sophia didn't clap, just watched, neutral, hands folded. The reception was even more extravagant. Ice sculptures melting slowly under warm lights, champagne towers, a 5-tier cake that looked structurally ambitious. After dinner, Marcus stood to give his speech. He tapped his glass, waited for silence. I want to thank everyone for celebrating with me and my beautiful wife. Pause for applause. This day represents everything I've worked for. I came from nothing, but I knew I was meant for more. And Victoria understood that from day one. She matches my drive, my vision, my commitment to excellence. His eyes scanned the room and landed on Sophia in the back. His smile widened, sharpened. I even see my ex-wife Sophia here tonight. Thank you for coming. It takes real grace to witness someone else's evolution, to watch them grow into something you never imagined possible. He raised his glass. To moving forward, to finding partners who elevate us, and to leaving the past behind where it belongs. Cruel laughter rippled through the crowd. Victoria giggled, whispered something in Marcus's ear that made him grin wider. Sophia didn't move, didn't flinch, just sat there with that same neutral expression. Then James stood up. The room went quiet immediately. When James spoke, people listened. If I may, James said, taking the microphone from Marcus. I'd like to add something. Marcus looked confused but pleased. His father-in-law was about to praise him publicly. You talked about elevation and evolution, James continued. About partners who match your ambition. But there's something you don't know. Something everyone here should know. The room shifted. People leaned forward. I'm not actually the owner of Nexus Tech. James's voice was calm, conversational. I'm the CEO, yes. The public face. But the real founder, the majority shareholder, the person who built this company from nothing. He paused. Let the silence stretch like a rubber band about to snap. Is sitting in the back of this room. Every head turned at once. Sophia felt 400 pairs of eyes land on her. Sophia Bennett, James said clearly. Would you please stand? Sophia stood slowly, gracefully. She heard gasps, confused whispers, someone's glass hitting the floor and shattering. Marcus had gone completely white. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His hand crushed the champagne flute stem. It cracked. Sophia founded Nexus Tech 9 years ago, James continued. She's been the sole controlling shareholder since inception. Every executive in this room reports to her. Every major decision goes through Sophia first. Victoria grabbed her father's arm. Dad, what are you? This is a joke, right? I work for Sophia, sweetheart. I always have. That's not possible. Marcus finally choked out. She's an accountant. She doesn't even work at Nexus. She works from a private office on the executive floor. Has for 3 years. She's been there the entire time you have, Marcus. You just never knew it. Sophia walked forward slowly. The crowd parted like she was Moses and they were the Red Sea. Every eye tracked her movement. She reached the head table, and James handed her the microphone. Hello, Marcus, she said quietly. This is Sophia. This is some kind of, you're pranking me, right? For the wedding? This is your salary of $180,000. Sophia's voice stayed steady, conversational. I approved it. Your promotion to senior VP? I signed off on it. Your company car, your expense account, the apartment lease you're so proud of? I authorized every single one. The room was dead silent now. Someone's ice cubes clinked in a glass. Nothing else. For 3 years, Marcus, you came home and told me I didn't understand business. That I was comfortable being average. That I had no ambition. She turned to address the crowd. The truth is, I built the company he works for. I've been paying his salary since the day he was hired. And I did it while he called me worthless. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell backward with a crash. You lied. You hid who you were. I wanted to see who you really were, Sophia said simply. I wanted to know if you'd love me when you thought I had nothing. And Marcus, the answer was no. The moment you thought you'd outgrown me, you threw me away. That's not. If you'd just told me. Told you what? That I was successful? Would that have made you love me? Or just resent me sooner? Steel crept into her voice now. You didn't leave me because I was unsuccessful. You left because you thought you'd found someone with more power. You traded what you thought was a worthless wife for what you thought was the CEO's powerful daughter. She looked at Victoria, whose face had gone from red to white. I'm sorry, Victoria, but your father has no power at this company. He's an employee, a well-compensated one, but still an employee. And you have even less. Your position was created as a courtesy to James. You have no real authority. Victoria's face crumpled. Daddy, it's true, James said quietly. I tried to warn you about Marcus, sweetheart. Marcus looked between them, understanding crashing over him in waves. So everything I built, it was all, you gave it to me? I gave you opportunity, Sophia corrected. You could have earned it. But instead, you used it as a platform to humiliate me. So now, Marcus, I'm taking it all back. What does that mean? You're fired. Effective immediately. You can't. Marcus shouted, composure shattering completely. This is my career. I worked for this. You worked for me. And I'm done. Security? Two men in black suits materialized at Marcus's sides. No, wait, Sophia, please. Marcus's voice broke. We can fix this. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't do this. She didn't respond. Didn't even watch him go. Just stood there, microphone in hand, perfectly calm while he was dragged toward the exit. Sophia, he screamed. Please. I love you. I didn't mean it. Sophia. The doors closed behind him. The room sat in stunned silence. Victoria stood up, ripping off her veil with shaking hands. You destroyed my wedding out of spite. Not spite, Sophia said. Education. Marcus thought power was something you marry into, something you acquire through connections. He never understood that real power is something you build yourself. And he definitely never understood that the woman he dismissed was the most powerful person in his entire world. She handed the microphone back to James. I want an annulment, Victoria said, voice breaking. Right now. Papers are in my office, James said gently. Already prepared. Sophia walked out of the ballroom, head high, steps measured and calm. Behind her, chaos erupted. Phones out, people calling friends, the story already spreading through Manhattan like wildfire. By morning, it was trending on every platform. Secret tech billionaire destroys ex at wedding had millions of views. Business Insider, TechCrunch, Bloomberg, everyone covered it. Marcus tried calling 97 times. She never answered. He showed up at Nexus Tech Security, turned him away. He posted on LinkedIn claiming abuse of power. The comments tore him apart. Imagine mocking the woman who signs your paychecks. This is what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. Victoria annulled the marriage within 72 hours. Marcus eventually found work at a small startup in Brooklyn. Sales position. No title, no power, no corner office. Just memories of the empire he'd stood on without knowing it. Sophia never remarried. She ran Nexus Tech from her office, building something that would last. Sometimes late at night, she thought about Marcus. Not with anger or regret, but with something like pity. He'd had everything. A woman who loved him, who built empires while he slept, who would have shared it all if he'd just seen her as an equal. Instead, he saw her as worthless. And in trying to trade up, he lost everything that mattered. Real power doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation. It simply is. Marcus spent his entire marriage standing on Sophia's shoulders, and he never once looked down to see what was holding him up. Now he knew. Now everyone knew. And Sophia Bennett, the woman they'd all dismissed, was exactly where she'd always been. At the top, where she'd built herself a throne no one could take away. So what did you think? Did Marcus deserve what happened to him? Or did Sophia go too far? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more stories about people who underestimated the wrong person and paid the price, I've got the perfect one for you next. It's about a billionaire who fired his assistant for being too old, only to discover she was the one who built his entire empire. Click here to watch it now. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next story. Remember, never underestimate the quiet ones.